breaking up. Jae-Gook suggests to Yoon that they should move to Paris together to escape the constant criticism. Yoon remains silent as she listens on, and we don't have any insights into what she's thinking. At the one the following day, rumors of an acquisition keeps gaining traction. Even Nari and Sunju from the Sono team are working on their portfolio for the interview Sunju has arranged with a potential employer. Yoon won't stop them, but she does expect them to continue to do their best for Sono while they're still on her team. Unlike her seniors, So-Young hasn't joined the job hunt. Uninterested in company politics, and rather than loyalty for the company, she's more concerned with using the current platform to do her job well so that she can see people wearing the shirt that she has designed. Chi-Hong is impressed with her mindset and jokingly asks her out. She brushes him off, saying that she will obviously be busy today, tomorrow, and so forth, but the mood remains playful between them. Meanwhile, Taek-soo and Junja threatens to take their divorce proceedings to court. Junja's lawyer has advised her to compose a letter explaining why Taek-soo is responsible for the breakdown of their marriage, so that he will be ordered to pay her alimony. Taek-soo cannot see the whole impact of all the smaller everyday things that Junja has included in the letter. For example, Junja describes how she likes to eat soft-boiled rice, but because of Taek-soo, she's eaten hard-boiled rice all her life. The two argues over the division of their assets, while Yoon finds Junja's discarded letter draft. In them, Junja writes that Taek-soo would only refer to her as his wife or Yoon's mother, and he never gave her room to be anything but those titles. She goes on about her lack of passions or skills other than cooking and cleaning, and how she longs to travel but was not allowed to leave because her husband would starve if she's gone. In the company cafeteria, Chi-Sook and Chi-Hyun discusses their grand plans for when the one is bought out. Do-Hoon joins them with a lecture on how they should be pillars of support for their employees through this uncertain period. Overhearing this, CEO Hwan's opinion of Do-Hoon skyrockets. Soo-Ho's mother drops by his apartment unexpectedly after learning that he's quit his job. She finds Soo-Ho in the kitchen while Mi-Sook is resting and throws a huge nasty tantrum about how Mi-Sook is dragging Soo-Ho down, contributing nothing and making him do everything at home. Soo-Ho tries but fails to stop his mother's ranting. Mi-Sook finally interrupts her, saying that Soo-Ho and her are adults now, and they are the two that are married to each other, so they should be able to stand on their own 2 feet and make decisions as a family unit without outsiders nagging. After standing up for herself for the first time against her mother-in-law, Mi-Sook leaves to get some air. She ends up at Yoon's apartment and they complain about her mother-in-law together. Mi-Sook also remarks that she would prefer for Soo-Ho to go back to work instead of seeing him sad and discouraged. Yoon shares that Jae-Gook invited her to leave for Paris with him and asks wistfully if she should just leave everything behind and go with him. Soo-Ho comes to collect Mi-Sook from Yoon's apartment, but Mi-Sook's medication has left her in a deep sleep. Yoon tells Soo-Ho that Mi-Sook would like him to go back to work and act like nothing has changed in their lives. Soo-Ho breaks down in tears. Yoo-jung finds Jae-Gook at his studio and reflects on whether her relationship with Soo-won would have really been perfect if Yoon hadn't gone between them. Having been deprived of the opportunity to find out, Yoo-jung is left with only wonderment and regrets and deep longing for Soo-won. She says that she can't forgive Yoon, but she can't find fault in Jae-Gook's love for her either. And she actually encourages him to hold on to her because the worst feeling is endless wondering about the path you couldn't take. The next day, Jae-Gook shows Yoon pictures of the properties that they could rent in Paris. She lets him know that in her mind, she's already with Jae-Gook in Paris, but in reality, she can't go with him while Mi-Sook is sick. Her parents are divorcing, and Sono's future hangs in the balance. Jae-Gook wants to know, can't she live a little less stressfully and think only of him? She replies that she loves him, but she also loves her life. And with everything around her being so unstable, she can't leave it all behind. Back at the office, Yoon contemplates Lafayette's continued silence since Sono stuck to its original designs. She guesses that they're ghosting because they're not sure how the clothes will turn out, and she decides to no longer wait for their responses and instead to put on an online buyer show for Sono's 2022 SS season. Still planning to jump ship, Kwak-Soo easily agrees to the plan despite its risks. CEO Hwang also signs off on the idea after Yeong-Eun, Chi-Sook, and Do-Hoon laid out its merits. He finally discloses that the due diligence team was sent by an investor, so not only is the company not being bought out, they are getting a large capital influx. He decides he will use the investment to finance the buyer's show. Back in her office, Chi-Sook thanks Do-Hoon for backing her up in the meeting with her father, saying that her dad and brother has never taken her seriously and that's why she looks for approval from the men that she dates, but then always gets dumped by them as well. Do-Hoon encourages her not to fit to her father's or anyone's standards, because she is unique and is a limited edition to him. They hug and declare their love for one another. Yoon goes home that night to find Taek-soo waiting outside her door. She calls Junja, who says that Taek-soo hasn't been home for 2 days. Taek-soo insists that he never did anything to hurt his wife intentionally and he didn't know that those small things mattered so much to her. Yoon suggests that maybe it's better to part ways, since Junja is trying to break up with him before her love for him turns to hate. She also asserts that Taek-soo is not returning to his house for the same reason, because he doesn't want to make matters worse, to which he faintly denies. In a concept meeting the next day, Yeong-Eun and Chi-Sook work to fit a beautiful dress on Mi-Sook, who had been convinced by them the day before to model for the online show. They have also convinced, or in Chi-Sook's case threatened, Soo-Ho to go back to work at Vision PR and to be in charge of the logistics for the show to show his support for his wife in a real way. Even Jae-Gook is roped in to help with the show and everyone works hard into the night to make it a success. Do-Hoon asks Jae-Gook when they're going to Paris, to which he responds that she won't go. Looking devastated, he asks himself, how am I going to break up with her? The day of the show arrives and Mi-Sook introduces Min-kyung to her daughter as someone close to her father. She also asks Min-kyung to look after her daughter for its duration, looking thoughtful as Min-kyung takes her daughter away. The broadcast begins with less than 20% of the buyers joining. Just when all hope seems lost, the connection rate reaches over 70% and all the big buyers join. Eventually, even Olivier joins. Mi-Sook is the last model down the catway. In a flashback, Yoon reveals that she has made Mi-Sook's outfit especially for her and will not be selling it. When Yoon hopes it will bring Mi-Sook happiness, Mi-Sook states that she's already as happy as she will ever be and shows contentment for a life well lived. They thank each other for the friendship and the flashback fades into a sea of applause accompanied by buyers rushing to place their orders. Meanwhile, Jae-Gook tells Hae-ok that he went to Soo-won's grave. In a flashback to his visit, he tells his brother tearfully that he must really not approve of the relationship from heaven and that fine he will break up with Yoon. In the present, he asks Hae-ok for 1 month to love Yoon to his heart's content before he finally breaks up with her. And that's it for this episode. This episode focuses on the concept of marriage quite a bit, whether it's through Yoon's parents or through Mi-Sook's in-law relationship. It makes marriage sound daunting, doesn't it? Seems like in a marriage, sometimes you're either living for others and before you know it, you have lost your own identity, or you're pressured to live the kind of life that others dictate for you and you need to constantly fight to keep your independence. What does freedom look like in a marriage? Let me know what you think in the comments below. And click the subscribe button if you want to receive updates on future episodes and other dramas like this. Thank you for watching!